1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Welcome back to the TMCJ podcast. We are on episode 31. We're into the 30s now, just like me.
God, I feel old just being on this podcast.
I feel old making that joke. God, what the hell is wrong with me?
I thought he's not old.
Well,
then maybe I'm just saying that because I'm getting there.
maybe I'm not. Well, maybe I think 30's old because I spend so much time reading medieval literature. Like, there's like that was.
Oh, well, that's like old age.
Yeah, you were over the hill at that point.
Yeah. Did they have like retirement age?
Not really. I mean,
no, probably not. Cause
sort of.
Still
you basically worked as long as you
guess.
could, but if you got to like retirement age, if you were lucky enough to live that long, then you were essentially like some person of note. Like you were
sage.
Yeah, exactly. Or just like somebody in the town who just like knew all the shit, or you became.
Hang on. So all of those like stories about like Merlin the wizard being this old man.
I mean, could have just been some old dude.
Yeah, but like, to get to the age that we think of an old man these days, that would be like.
So that's actually a bit of it's a bit of like a historical myth. People did live to like their 60s and 70s and even their 80s in some cases in medieval times. It was less common, but pretty much as long as you made it through adolescence, you had a good shot of living into your 60s as long as you didn't die in war. And the reason being, like the reason the average age of death was so low is because there was a lot more infant mortality. There were a lot of people who died in their teens and 20s from violent death, like military action and stuff like that.
There's something I need to tell you in the break.
Okay.
It's already got to that point.
Well, that's already a bingo square.
It is. Speaking of, we had bingos, didn't we?
Yeah. For the first time ever, episode 25 and 26 were apparently bingos, or so I was informed.
2 in a row. God.
After a 24 episode, like, well, actually, the bingo card only started, like, in the 20s for the episodes, so it was not bingo for a while, and then bingo. Double bingo. Anyway, let me get into the topics, because the first one I want to talk about is something that is very near and dear to my heart, and that is meaningless corporate jargon.
Close to your heart?
Well, in the sense that I also feel hatred in my heart.
Okay.
I don't, and I'm not going to, but I don't talk about really work on the podcast, and there's a very good reason for that. Mainly, it's not that interesting, and also I don't want to make it easier for the psychopath that will eventually find and kill me. But I do work in like a corporate office environment, and I absolutely despise some of the sort of like generic,
lingo,
boring corporate jargon.
Yeah. Like
back in the early and mid 2000s, it was words like learnings with an S, mind you, and synergy, and
whenever anyone says the word synergy, I do the thing with the hands, you spread the fingers and just like power them into each other.
Synergy. Oh my god! I just
synergize.
This is being a fully audio medium. I'm doing that motion with my.
So am I.
But well, that's the point. Like those words became so universally mocked and recognized as meaningless nonsense that they became a meme, essentially.
A little bit, yeah. And
new things were just. The word yesterday at the meeting that was driving me nuts at first was empowering or empowered. Mm-hmm. And I was 8 minutes into the meeting. This, mind you, just being a meeting where the higher ups in my company talked down to the rest of us and told us what we should be doing. But it was all dressed up and made to make you feel better if you weren't paying attention. And the quote I think I sent to Juan, and I may have sent this to you too. Just making fun of the meeting, I was like, "We want to make sure that our empowered employees feel empowered to empower themselves to make goals that empower us as a company." It's just, you don't have to use the. Is it like? Do they have a running bet in the background? Like the manager that says empowered the most time gets $10. Like,
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to keep this as far away from me as possible. But these types of words like really get under my skin. Like, just use simple language. Like, you don't have to be like, speaking at a third grade level. You can use like esoteric language that actually has some, niche like understanding to it that shows off that you are an educated person. Just don't use these generic, soulless, meaningless fucking corporate words.
Well, or just use them sparingly.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. I think it's the overuse that really gets to me, if I'm, being fair. Because if you use, like, synergy is a word that actually does have some meaning, and if you were to use it, like, once in a presentation, okay. It's cool. You've used it like a punctuation mark. You actually give the word the weight that it probably was originally intended to, instead of just playing fucking buzzword bingo.
When kids are taught for the first time how to use exclamation marks,
they use them all the time.
Exclamation marks just appear everywhere because they're just thinking, oh, I mean this in a serious manner, so I must finish it with an exclamation mark.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the same thing. It loses all value.
Well, this is another thing. I think in like the corporate environment, I mean, people do overuse exclamation marks quite a bit as well.
Yeah, but an even more simple version of that is the word "and."
Yeah, exactly. Don't use run-on sentences. Like, end a sentence when it's supposed to be ended.
That's why typically whenever I'm describing something and I'm using adjectives, I'll use a maximum of 3, because that's kind of effective. It's like big, scary, and terrifying.
Well, yeah.
Any more than that, and it's just no one gives a toss.
It's true, and I try to do this when I'm writing, like, or trying to make a point. Is I'll try to keep it to like, if I'm trying to say something as a benefit, right? I'll try to keep it to 3 points. It's like this will be this, and this. Even if there are more benefits, just keep it tight.
Yeah.
Like, keep it to those 3. There's a quote which I absolutely love, and I know I've mentioned before on the podcast. I think it was Mark Twain, and it was, if I had more time, I'd write a shorter story. And right. I think that is perfectly illustrative of the kind of this point here. It's like, you don't need to pump a presentation full of like all this meaningless jargon and language. You can just go, here are my points, X, Y, and Z, and like focus on distilling it down to like, a strong brandy instead of a well-watered wine.
Yeah, you absolutely want to make whenever you're saying something concise. Yeah. That would definitely be a word that should not be overused, by the way.
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like when I'm presenting like projects or anything at work, I tend to use very tight, pithy language. Like, I don't go into too floral detail because people lose interest. I know when I'm listening to these long presentations that are just packed full of gibberish and jargon that I just kind of like, my mind kind of goes off elsewhere, and I'm like, all right, let's play solitaire, or let's get some other paperwork done while I'm listening to this person drone on for 5 hours.
Yeah.
So I try to extend that same courtesy to the people that I'm presenting to. Just be like, hey.
Yeah, that's kind of why I don't like, and when I was growing up, I never really liked essay writing, because a lot of it, the teacher would say, even if you said anything, just keep writing.
Yeah.
And I would get to the end of an essay, and it would be. We're talking about like year 8, alright? So
Yeah.
don't expect me to be writing 100-page essays. Sorry. So I get to the end of like 2 pages, and I'm like, right, that's my essay done. And then
What, if
I'm
you,
like, okay, half an hour later, everyone else is still madly scribbling away at the paper, and I'm like,
yeah, it's like, well, if you've made your point, you've made your point.
yeah.
Well, this actually brings me back to so in high school, this would have been, well, I guess 10th and 11th grade. We have so in U.S. high schools we have these courses called advanced placement, and they're essentially college level courses that you can take in high school.
Right.
And at the end of the year, you take a special test, and if you pass that test, then you can get college credits for those courses. Anyway, I took the first one I took was an advanced placement writing and composition course, and one of the big components of that course was 5-paragraph essays, and the idea was you have an introduction, you make 3 points, and then you have a closure, and that was it. And it was very, very much about that structure. You had to write the 5-paragraph essay in 40 minutes. That was your time limit. Any more, you didn't get time. Any less, well, you could finish early. But
that kind of sounds like long story short.
yeah, maybe that's why I'm so good at that game. Except when I drone on about one point and forget about all the other books in a series. So the teacher that I had in that, though, excellent teacher. Loved this guy. He was very well-spoken, and he was very, very intelligent. And he knew how to, like, command respect in a classroom. Like, the students actually listened to him. But I asked him one time, I was like, what if I only have 2 points to make about a topic? Can I just do, like, 4 paragraphs? And he looks at me for a second, and he doesn't say no outright, but he just goes, they better be 2 damn good points. And a couple times, most of the time I stuck to the whole 5-paragraph format, but sometimes I was like, you know what, I feel like this is stronger if I don't have to just piddle around for a 3rd paragraph. I want to make my point. And so
if it's like a weak thing that detracts from the rest of the writing, then absolutely.
Yeah.
You don't want that hanging on to the end of a couple of really good points, but
especially if it's your last point. Your last point should be your strongest one, because that's the one people are going to remember.
Well, yeah, your first and last of anything should be the most important ones, because the first one, because it gets people gripped, and so they keep reading until the end, and the last one, because it's what they walk away thinking about.
That's true, yeah. Open up with the hook and end with a banger.
Yeah, that's why we opened up today with, what was it?
Corporate jargon.
No. Before that, like the 3 minutes of us talking about...
Oh, what the hell were we talking about?
We've already forgotten. That's how bad we are at this.
I honestly don't remember. It was something you brought up, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. Sorry.
Jesus. Maybe we should take notes. It's not like I have a giant notepad in front of me that's mostly blank.
Yep.
Oh my god. Alright, well that's really, I think, as far as I think we can take this topic. You said you had something else to talk about.
Yeah, very different kind of topic. I was not expecting it to be quite so real-worldy for the first part. So time for some...
Wait, no, hold on. That's the name of this episode. It's real. Getting real.
Getting real. With a bear and a short American... No.
Go on.
So, the topic that I just came up with on the spot was which fictional world, I'm going to actually specify video games, would you do the best in? That doesn't mean, like, survive the longest. I mean, do the best in. And which would you do the worst in?
So, just like a fictional world that I would do the best and do the worst in?
Yeah.
Okay. This is tricky. Like, are there
I'll
any limitations? Like sci-fi, fantasy, what?
No, not at all. So, I'll give you an example. Factorio it's one that could go either way. Because on one hand, you're on an alien planet, you're on your own, there are aliens everywhere, but you're intelligent enough to be able to build whole factories and eventually escape the planet.
Yeah,
assuming you don't get eaten first.
In Factorio, I think I'd probably do pretty bad because I'd just fall off a conveyor belt after I was trying to build something dumb. Let me think of it. So, is it limited to video games?
I'm limiting it to video games because otherwise you could say like
okay.
Narnia, and I'll be a magical princess.
Well, if it was open to any amount of fiction, I had one in mind. But okay, video games only. I'd probably honestly do the worst in. God, I'd probably do the worst in the Halo universe. Honestly, it's sad to say. Halo or 40K, because both of those are sci-fi universes where a good chunk of humanity gets wiped out, and there's a good chance that I'd be one of those yahoos that gets wiped out.
But you could be like a Spartan soldier.
I could be, but the probability is extremely low, and even if I was one, that means I would have had to get kidnapped at 6th and like experimented on, and there's still a 50-50 shot I'd be dead.
Okay, but you... okay.
I'm just running the odds. If I can pick anyone in the universe to be, then I maybe not.
Yeah,
that
I think you can pick any character with exception to like, I don't know, the devil or something, because that'd be ridiculous.
Okay. I think in that case, if we're going with any video game world, I think the one I'd do the worst in is going to be the 40K universe.
Yeah?
Just because, like, even the super soldiers in that universe typically die.
Yeah, but they can live for like 900 years.
So you get 900 years of constant fighting and getting brutalized until finally...
For the Emperor.
For the Emperor!
I mean, you wouldn't even have to be a space marine. You could be like a fucking Slaneshi warlock if you wanted.
I could, but why would I... I don't want to be part of the warp. I'm sticking by my answer. I think I'd do the worst in the 40K universe.
Okay. And where do you think you'd do the best?
Best? Oh, God. Come back to me. Because you clearly have something in mind. Tell me your worst
no,
one.
I don't.
I'm thinking about this. Tell me your worst one while I think.
Okay, my worst one, probably... Of the game I've been playing recently, probably Rogue Legacy.
Why? Because you're just going to die over
I'd be born to a person who's already dead. I would suit up in armor. I'd have my special gay trait to give me a bit of extra money. Because that's a thing.
Yeah, God, of course.
And then I'd march in there. I'd also have gigantism, though, which would also get me some extra money. I'd go in there completely unprepared. I might clear like a few floors, then I would jump to hit a platform, miss the platform, hit spikes, and just splatter. So I would not meet any other friends on my journey. I would last about 10 minutes, and then I would like...
And then you're just gone.
Yeah. That'd be my worst, I think.
So I think, God, the world I'd probably do the best in, honestly, would be... Pick any like mech video game. I'm gonna go with just any of the number of like Gundam video games.
So like Tetris.
Yeah, funny. No, not Tetris. Like Armored Core, any of the Mobile Suit Gundam games. Just because I feel like if I lived in a world where I had the opportunity to like pilot some sort of a fucking mech, I would devote everything to that because that would be so fucking cool.
Yeah. Well, so if you're like in, let's say, Redline, because it's been on my mind, you think you would go into like the mechanized industry, maybe even a racer yourself?
Ah, well, if I was, I'd probably end up being a racer if I was in that universe.
I think my best one. Wait, golf with your friends?
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? There we go. No, that's the universe that Scott would do the best in.
Yeah. I think I would have a pretty good shot for the king. Because it's a world where you can have magic, so even if you are a weakling like I am, I could at least have like a magical book to beat people up for me.
Yeah, I feel
Go on.
I'm thinking on this now. Like God, I'm not expanding my mind like wide enough and thinking of like all the different video game worlds. I mean, I could have said Mario.
I mean, okay, so in the example of like Payday 2, which
Yeah.
obviously I love, I think you don't die, you get arrested when you go down, but it does hurt a fuck ton getting the shit kicked out of you to the point where you're like unconscious every time. So I would be very, very rich.
But
I would
also in
also
jail.
be like always in jail, always badly beaten up. So many bullet holes in me.
Oh my god! All right, so your do well one was what again?
For the king?
For the king.
I don't know.
Okay.
There's definitely better ones that I would.
Yeah, I feel
do
like
better in.
also I feel like my worst one, 40K, was kind of a very generic answer. Like it's the grim dark universe. Obviously, you're
Yeah.
gonna be shit out of luck there.
I mean, there's quite a few of the games like Train Station Renovation or Car Mechanic Sim, where it would just be Earth.
You know what game I think I'd do well in? The Sims.
Ooh.
Because that's
Really, though?
basically
Because,
what
I
I'm
mean-
playing right now.
But every so often, when you're like, you know, just walking around, you're out in the back garden, oh, you've got a new swimming pool. Suddenly your ladder has disappeared and you can't climb up small ledges.
Fuck that. I can climb up small ledges.
Oh, you can't in The Sims.
I would, but I could also. I know how to open up a cheat window, and I can get billions of dollars and just buy a new ladder.
You're just like opening the config window.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do we have is this still a video game when we're in this video game?
You went super crackly for a second there.
Oh,
but I think I heard what you
shit.
said.
Yeah, am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. I
I
said
think-
that.
yeah,
Is this still a video game while we're in the video game? Because if so, can I hack? Can I hack
no,
life?
you can't even pause it. You have to just.
Well, one of the other ones I was thinking about, ones that I do good in, was like Morrowind or like the Elder Scrolls series.
Right. I think you'd do great in Dream Daddy.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's
Wait.
true. Oh, I want to be in a dating sim. That's my choice. That's my choice.
Oh, actually, yeah. Hey, fuck that. I choose Clanad.
Although not that dating sim where all the like people end up like killing themselves, because that would not be fun.
Oh, that was Doki Doki Literature Club.
Literature Club, yeah.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
If it was Farming Simulator, I'd shoot myself.
Oh, there's one I'd be good at. Stardew Valley.
Stardew Valley. Yeah.
It's a
that would
game where
actually be a lot of
you
fun.
end up being like a farming baron, and all you have to do to get a wife is throw daisies at a random blonde.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, lots of choices, and also everyone for some reason wants to date you, like no matter what.
I'm like, I honestly, like, I'm. this is. I feel like our first choices were really like weak sauce, and now we're really starting to get into it. Now that we're digging down a little deeper.
What about the Elder Scrolls world? All right.
Well, I already said that, so I said that I thought I'd do good in that one.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I don't know how. Now I gotta think, how
As
would
what
I do
race
it?
though?
Well, clearly I'm not gonna be a
Imperial, I take
fucking
it.
Argonian or a Khajiit. The cat and lizard people. No, I think I'd
You wouldn't be a furry?
probably if I were to like pick what racial character I. Hold on, am I coming
Yeah.
through clear?
No, you're breaking up constantly.
Fuck, hold on. All right, how about now?
I mean, yeah, it's good now.
I don't know what's going on with my mic.
Hopefully, it's not something that'll be picked up in the recording. But
No,
anyway.
it is. The reason I asked was because I could see the audio profile going weird.
Oh, well then, okay. Cool.
So
Anyway, continue.
yeah, so obviously I'm not gonna be a Khajiit or Argonian. Not gonna be a lizard person. Not gonna be a cat boy.
Cat boy.
Maybe
Jesus.
either like a Breton, Imperial, or Nord. Because the Nords just because they're fucking badasses. The Imperials because then you get all the privilege of being the ruling elite.
Yeah.
Or a Breton because they got a whole shitload of mana. If I wanted to be a mage guy. But I think if I had to pick, I'm gonna pick what I always pick when I'm playing Skyrim, which is gonna be a Nord.
I mean, I would honestly probably take not Khajiit, the other one, Argonians. I've always
Argonian?
liked Argonians, because they have the most useless perk in the game. But if it was me in real life, I would love it, which is that they can breathe underwater.
Don't they? And then you also can fill your house with like 18 million copies of the Lusty Argonian Maid.
Are you kidding me? I'm going to be writing the Lusty Argonian.
Are you the Lusty Argonian Maid? By the way, I should explain it because I feel like we're just rapid fire naming video games. That last reference in the video game Oblivion, there was a book called The Lusty Argonian Maid. There's a bunch of books in the game, and most of them are just filled with like lore and flavor text, and they're really unnecessary to read in a normal playthrough if you don't want to, if you're not interested. But there were a couple like Easter eggs, like joke books that were left in there, and one of them was The Lusty Argonian Maid, and it's just a
oh my god! It
spicy
sounds like
tale.
It sounds like we're talking about dinosaurs again, Kaiser.
Yeah, but no, it's not actually.
I have to always come back to this.
This game is rated T for teen. There's nothing like too spicy in it, but it is a very it's meant to be a parody on those types of risque novels.
What about? I mean, I don't know how well I would do off, but it would be a very nice and peaceful life in Slime Rancher.
I've never played Slime Rancher. All I know is it's the
Yeah.
game where you burn chickens.
You don't burn chickens.
You do. You can throw chickens into the laser beam, and then you get an achievement.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but you don't normally. That's not what you normally do with them.
Okay.
Oh. What about? Did you ever play Pyre?
No, I didn't. I know of the
Okay.
game.
It's like, okay, so imagine it like this. This would actually be good for the last segment. Whatever. There's the main overworld, which is basically Earth, like as it is.
Yeah.
But if you can be banished to the underworld, and in the underworld, it's basically like hell, but a little bit less grim. And if you're basically if your basketball team is the best in hell, you can come back to the.
I remember hearing about this. I remember watching the Zero Punctuation, and the guy actually ended up really liking it because
It is a really good game.
he described it as like a visual novel / basketball game, and I was like, what?
Yeah. It's surprisingly fun. It's by the same people that did Bastion.
Which I'm playing Hades right now, which is another game that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, and so you know that the art is beautiful.
Interesting. I may actually have to check it out. I didn't know it was by the same people that did Bastion and Hades.
Like the gameplay itself, it does get a little repetitive.
Yeah.
Certainly, if you're going for a complete run, to do a complete run, I played the game for 13 and a half hours, and that was one run. Okay.
Oof.
But the story and the characters between the fights, as it were, very fun. There's a lot of decisions you have to make all the time, and also the ending credits are some of the most beautiful ending credits. And the moment anyone thinks ending credits, they're like snore, right?
Yeah.
No one likes looking at credits. I sat all the way through the credits enraptured by the beautiful artwork that was on the screen.
Some games manage to actually. I think that's a measure of like a really good game is when you actually are able to sit through the. Some games kind of cheat, like Super Smash Brothers. You sit through the ending credits because you can shoot them.
Yeah. Yeah, they did that with Chocobo Tales, but that was also an awesome game.
But yeah, there's a few games out there that I've sat through the whole. I don't know, that just because of beautiful art or beautiful music or whatever, I'll sit through the whole thing. I don't know why, when I said that, the first thing that popped in my head was fucking Yakuza with Dame 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 oh.
I never played any of the Yakuza games.
Oh my god, this is so fucking good. I've only played Yakuza 0 and Kiwami, and Kiwami is the, they essentially remade Yakuza 1.
Yeah.
But it's, I don't know, the games are, they gyrate wildly between, like, wacky minigames and very serious Japanese drama.
Yeah. What about Baba Is You for a world to live in?
Fuck that. With my luck, I'd like end up just like mixing up some rules and bricking my life.
Yeah, turning yourself into a tree.
Baba Is You, for reference, it's a puzzle-solving video game where you can essentially move around certain like rule structures that are on the map, and depending on how you move them around, it will change how the world functions. And if you screw up the rule structure so bad, you can basically brick the game, meaning you have to reset the level because it's just completely fucked.
Yeah. Did you ever complete Into the Breach?
Yes, I've beaten it once now, I think.
Okay.
But that's a roguelike. You just kind of go through it over and over and over again.
But it's a mech game, and you're like, oh, I could be really good at mech games.
I don't know. Well, okay, so for that, there's a reason I said Gundam in particular, because you're only fighting against other humans in that universe. I don't want to be in like Blue Gender. Blue Gender was a mech anime where you have to fight these weird creatures that have essentially taken over the Earth and slaughtered humanity. I don't want to play that one. I don't want to live in that one. I also don't want to live in Evangelion.
Yeah. I'd be quite interested in the world of
Actually,
Hand of Fate.
You know what? I know the Gundam world I want to live in. I want to live in the world of G Gundam, the one where it's just a Gundam martial arts tournament around the world.
That sounds really dumb.
It's the stupidest, most awesome Gundam anime. Like, it's fun to watch, but it is dumb fun to watch. Yeah. Like, the story is... It's like, what if you took Dragon Ball Z and made it about Gundams? That's pretty much the best way I can describe it. Amazing. Shining a finger! That's one of the guy's actual moves in the anime.
I'm not surprised. Mind you, sometimes it's just like Japanese English translations of Japanese stuff comes through weird, so maybe it was just that.
No. That's what he says in Japanese. In the Japanese version, he says shining finger in English.
Okay.
But this is a thing that is kind of a cultural phenomenon in Japan. Like, any sort of English text, no matter what it says, is considered kind of cool.
Yeah.
Which is how you end up with stores.
You get the same thing the other way around.
Well, it's how you end up with stores that have, like, signs outside that say, like, big fucking sale. Because the guy who owned the store was just like, you know, Americans say fuck all the time. It must mean, like, cool or great. And so,
to be fair, it would get you to walk in if you saw that.
Oh, yeah, no, I would definitely shop at that store. So maybe the guy's a marketing genius. But you're right, it's the same thing of, like, people getting, like, you know, Chinese characters tattooed, and they don't actually know what they fucking mean.
Yeah, suddenly you have sausage party printed on your neck.
Yeah, it's like, I don't remember who, it was either some celebrity or some person, they thought they had the Chinese character for, like, power or something, and it ended up meaning, like, beefcake. I'm sorry.
I mean, that's not too bad. Could be a lot worse.
I don't know, would you want beefcake tattooed to your fucking arm?
If I was that muscly, then maybe, yeah.
No, it's just some random dude.
Anyway,
yeah. Actually, I think it was a woman.
In segment 2. Oh, that's kind of a bit worse then.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. So, any final thoughts before we wrap things up?
No.
Okay. All right, this is going to be the end of segment 1 of the TMCJ podcast. Thank you all for listening, and you will hear us momentarily for segment 2. Welcome back to the TMCJ podcast. We are on segment 2, our media segment, where we didn't do movie night this week. But I've watched a couple different things, or watched and read, and Blue, I understand that you have a couple things you'd like to mention as well.
Yep, I've been binge watching Expanse. I always wanted to say like Expendables or something.
The Expansibles. Expandables?
Spunk about that so much. Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
That's not the word I meant to use, and we've spoken about that. Sorry, a lot. This morning on YouTube, I was just flicking through, and for a start, I think YouTube does go a bit far when you click on a video because it's got some interest grabbing thumbnail,
some interest grabbing something.
For the next month, you get more videos by the same person over and over and over and over again.
Yep.
It sucks. Because now, like, my entire feed is all one thing, which I'm not even particularly interested in. I just clicked it once because it looks like something entertaining to watch over food. But,
yeah, I've got, like, I'm still getting videos about this tiny Japanese owl because I watched one video because I was like, oh, that's pretty cute.
That is exactly the kind of thing that we're talking about here. Anyway, so I was watching an episode from a channel called The Dodo.
I get recommended stuff from them too.
They are quite good videos. Like,
yeah,
they're short, and they basically just cover a quite often like amazing story of goodwill on the behalf of a person or an animal.
Yeah.
And when I was watching today, there was a sheep, right, that went into the woods and didn't come back for 5 years, right?
Holy shit.
The fleece that it had, right, weighed 80 pounds.
Holy fuck. That's like...
To give... God.
That's like, some kind of fucking mountain man goes off to survive in the wild and comes back with an 8-foot beard.
Right? But this... So, I'm saying, here's like... Basically, just think of like a coat you can't take off that weighs 40 kilograms.
Jesus Christ.
Like, just forever you've got that on. And so, yeah, someone found him, and they sheared him, and he did not look too happy. But I wish they kind of would have. They quite often do like, we came back a few months later, and now they look all happy and a lot better. And
yeah.
They didn't really do that. Maybe there was a reason behind that, but
well, I think the reason might have been mutton.
Well, mate, I doubt it. But I mean, it could have. But like, they showed him a few days later, and yeah, he was walking around, which he couldn't do before, and he just had his body looked very tired, obviously from carrying around this vast weight for so long. It's like, holy shit.
Ran away from home, finally came back years later for a haircut.
Yeah. God. COVID equivalent for sheep when the barbers aren't open.
Oh my god.
And the sheep was called Obama.
Boo.
No, not moo. We're not talking about cows, cuz.
No, I said boo. And not boo because Obama. Boo because of the pun. What the fuck?
Yeah. Great name for a sheep. But yeah, no. They do a lot of good episodes like that. Normally without not as great a puns, but
I have seen some stuff that came out of the Dodo. Typically, though, their videos are too long, and I don't want to read all the text that they put up on the screen.
Yeah. Okay. You said it could have been turned into mutton. I think it was actually taken to one of these care home equivalents for animals that they had in the area.
Yeah.
So it was with like a sheep that had like crutches and stuff like that. So I don't think.
What?
I think they were allowed to. Yeah, there was a sheep that had like wheels at the back because obviously it had damaged its back legs or something.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
Yeah, be careful what you say, Kaiser. Just, I know your opinions.
I want to see mecha sheep.
Anyway, but the video that I saw that came up after that was not particularly similar, but it had like the animal thing in similarity.
Yeah.
In common, that's the word. And the name of the YouTuber is called the Hornet King, right?
Okay.
And it's one of these things that you think, man, this sounds really fucking boring.
Yeah.
But watching it, it's strangely fascinating, and it's just a regular dude who basically does what would you call like pest control for wasps and things. Like he takes wasp nests out of people's houses and things.
Oh, and he doesn't spray them?
No, he uses like he like hoovers up the bees, or sorry, the wasps, and then he gets the combs with the larvae inside of them.
Yeah.
Brings them home, and then he like gets all the wasps off them. Then he feeds them to his chickens.
I thought it was gonna be like some kind of he relocates it to a place in nature where they can thrive. No. He feeds them to his chickens.
I think, what was it, 5 chickens, a turkey, and a squirrel, and they all enjoy the fruits of his labour. But yeah, otherwise the combs would have to be like sprayed down to get rid of the larvae and thrown somewhere.
Honestly, I don't know. I think you just call it pest control still.
Yeah, but that makes it sound like he's like hunting down rats and stuff. But it's specifically
no, because
pest
control is the same thing. Like when we look at like clean room facilities, pest control can be anything from like preventing the smallest insect from getting in, all the way up to preventing rats and mice and things.
Yeah, but some of the shit that he pulls, like, oh my god. So the first one I saw, the one that I have seen all the way through, it was like there was a well, right, and it was like a 8-inch in diameter hole in the ground that went down 5 feet.
Yeah.
And 3 foot of that, like, cylinder was just a nest of wasps.
Holy shit.
And he's saying all like the Latin names, the Vespus Germanicus, or something like the yellow coats, he was calling them. And for some reason he's quite well spoken.
Yeah.
But then every time he got to any word with the letter O in it, it like his voice would completely change. And especially because the word comb, as in like
yeah,
is quite common. He would be saying a normal sentence like, yeah, so just reaching in with the hoover now again, last the wasps out to clear the comb, and and I don't know why every single word, word
it's the most odd speech impediment known to man.
He would just go, ow. Yeah, really nice guy, like you said, and I think it's really cool that he's feeding his chickens with these things rather than just spraying them and tossing.
Well, yeah, I guess he is he's not, I want to say recycling, but he's not just getting rid of it. He's using it as food.
Yeah, and some of them are like, hey, I found this one in this wasp nest in someone's bedroom, like in the above the ceiling kind of thing. And he pulls out this like massive wasp's nest, and I'm like, that's terrifying.
We
Holy
used to
moly.
God, we used to get like hives, wasp nests and beehives in my backyard quite often. Like every year they'd show up somewhere. the bigger ones would like somehow get underneath the siding of the house, and we'd have to just like spray them down with a hose, and then spray them down with everything else. But I remember we had like wasp spray that was specifically designed to shoot like 5 feet away from you, or more.
Yeah. I mean, he obviously had like a beekeeper's suit and he had leather gloves on. But apparently, like, the stingers can go through leather gloves sometimes.
Yeah, wasps. It's very interesting how bees and wasp stingers are designed. Like the fat bees that gather the pollen, they don't even have stingers. But even the warrior bees, the ones that actually can sting you, their stingers have hooks in them, so they're designed to go in, get stuck, and when the bee pulls its abdomen away, it rips the stinger out and actually kills the bee. So the bee dies when it stings you, but the stinger gets jabbed in and stuck. Wasp is the opposite. Wasps actually, their stingers are smooth, so they can actually sting you repeatedly, and they don't die from it. So they, like, wasps, like a swarm of wasps can get like a ton of stings in because their instinct is to clamp on and just rapidly sting, 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 sting. Bees do it once and then pull out, so it's longer term, more painful, but wasps can do a lot more damage.
This got very kinky. Sorry. I also found out like a little bit about wasps because he's just kind of like chatting about them as he goes.
Yeah.
God, they're kind of just bigger assholes than I thought they were.
Oh yeah.
They can't eat. So they go out and hunt like bugs and things, right, to consume.
Yeah.
But they can't eat the bugs as they are, so they bring them back to the nest. Then the larvae like breaks them down the insects, and then the wasps can eat them.
All insect, like, pretty much all insects that fight other insects are just disgusting and brutal, if I'm honest. Like, if you see the way ants will, like, fight, they just, like, they literally just tear each other apart. And same thing with other bugs. I mean, spiders, if you think about how they feed, like, they wrap a thing in a cocoon while it's still alive and then just, slowly kill it that way. This got very gross, and if people have problems, people have problem with bugs, they're not going to like this segment very much.
No, and I wouldn't say, if you have a problem with insects, don't watch that like channel. But it is quite calming for someone like who knows that they're beyond the screen.
Yeah, I don't really have a problem with any type of bugs. I mean, most spiders I actually kind of like because they clean up the bugs that annoy the fuck out of me. I just, it reminds me of a metaphor, or not a metaphor, but a statement that I remember from a book I read as a kid. It's like, if ants had nuclear weapons, the world would be ended like 100 times over.
Yeah.
Like, because if you ever see like I remember watching this, this was years ago. And there's tons of, it was in some nature documentary, there's tons of videos of it online. If 2 ant colonies like are too close to each other and they go to war, it's like just fucking Armageddon.
Right. Damn.
Oh man. Anyway, so
So those are my topics.
Anything else to talk about that, or I can move on to what I was watching. I've actually been rewatching the old Dragon Ball Z anime this week.
Yeah.
I don't know what made me decide that I wanted to rewatch it, but I have the series on DVD, and so yeah, DVD. That's how old the thing is. But yeah, I was just watching through. I got through the first and season and like I think about halfway through the second season. There's a lot of filler in that anime. I found myself like, there are really interesting bits, and there are episodes where a lot of stuff happens very quickly, and then there's other episodes where there's just a lot of exposition, where they're just saying things that I got into the anime when I was very young, and there's a high degree of nostalgia for me, like when I'm watching this, and some of the fight scenes and stuff are really cool, and the lore and stuff behind it, and they do have some genuinely like emotional moments in the series, but there's also a whole lot of just like talking about nothing. And it's just like you see this guy like blow up a mountain, and then somebody spends 5 minutes talking about how powerful the guy is. It's like, yeah, we just saw him blow up a fucking mountain. You don't have to tell us.
Sounds like my D&D campaign.
There's varying degrees of that, and it just kind of there was some episodes where I found myself like, okay, I basically know how this episode goes, and I'll just fast forward through a little bit, but because I'm watching it on DVD and stuff, there's bits that I don't remember because either the episodes weren't allowed to air or they got censored. I still remember. I don't even know why this got censored in the U.S., but there's a part early on in the series where Goku, the main character, dies, and he has to get to this sage in the afterlife who will train him for a year, and then his friends wish him back to life, and so he can fight this big impending threat that's the main focal point of Season 1. And on his way there, he accidentally falls off the path to get there and ends up in hell. Or whatever it's not like hell. It's called hell in the series, but it's like essentially more like the Japanese afterlife. It's or Chinese one. It's not really. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. There are like ogres down there taking care of the souls and making sure they don't get out. But in the censored version, it's called the HFIL, the Home for Infinite Losers.
That's very dumb.
It is very dumb. Excuse me. But there's a couple points in the series that had like weird censorship. Like in a later season, there's this one guy who takes credit for what a bunch of the main characters do to save the planet, and in the censored version they call him by his first name, which is Hercule, right? Which is a play on Hercules, but he's a big strong man.
I'm not gonna lie, the first thing I thought of was Hercule Poirot.
Well, his last name, but in the uncensored version, his name is Mr. Satan. And so, like, that gets censored out, obviously, because if they're going to censor hell, they're obviously going to censor out Mr. Satan. I'm
just picturing a little Belgian man with a pork pie hat called Mr. Satan.
No, he's actually like a 7-foot-tall, muscly dude with like an 80s porn star mustache.
Nice.
And an afro.
Nice.
The guy's actually a pretty awesome character in the series. Like, he's more of a comic relief character, but he does have kind of a redemption arc in later seasons where he becomes sort of this...
Oh yes, Satan, that classic comic relief.
I mean, I did go off about... what was the series I was watching, like, 20 podcasts ago? Lucifer?
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, actually, speaking of...
Yeah.
I've recently found out that Good Omens is on Amazon Prime for free.
What the fuck is Good Omens?
Well, I kept calling it Bad Omens for a long while. Now I realised that it wasn't called that. It's the one with David Tennant as a devil.
Yeah, I've wanted to watch that. I saw Amazon advertising it, and like I was like, oh, this looks kind of interesting. And David Tennant and the other actor who I can't remember his name, both of those actors I've seen in stuff, and I've liked them in both, like in everything I've seen them in.
Like, I noticed this, and the first day I was like, right, Alicia, our favourite hot actor David Tennant is on Amazon Prime for free. We need to watch this. So we're going to watch that at some point. And free, hell yeah.
There's a movie he was, and I'll admit I only watched this movie because he was in it, but it ended up being kind of like this charming and wholesome kind of romance movie. It's called Runaway Bride, I think. No, Decoy Bride, maybe.
Hang on, I'm looking it up.
I think it's called Decoy Bride. It's David Tennant and some Scottish chick whose name I don't know. I've never seen her in anything else, but she was pretty good in this.
That is an awful front cover for a film, I'm just saying.
Yeah, it seems like it was kind of like a low-budget, like, romantic comedy.
Was this before Doctor Who days?
I don't know. Maybe before, maybe after, maybe during. I honestly don't know. But I watched it purely because David Tennant was in it, and
Yeah.
it's actually pretty good. Sometime for movie night we should watch that because it's just a little charming romance, and it's also pretty funny.
Okay.
A romantic comedy, if you will.
Like that. It was released in 2011.
So after post Doctor Who.
Was it?
Yeah, his Doctor Who days were in like the mid to late 2000s. Because
no, hang on. Keep going.
I think Doctor Who rebooted in 2005 with
No, well, so David Tennant played the 10th Doctor from 2005 to 2010.
Yeah, so right after Doctor Who.
Yeah. What the fuck was he thinking?
Honestly, it's a pretty good movie.
I know he did quite a few of those kind of romance kind of films.
Honestly, it was probably a decent break after playing like sci-fi for 5 years.
That's true. I mean, he must have. Yeah, he quit Doctor Who. Like he didn't. I don't think he was forced out of Doctor Who. So I mean, maybe he just got a bit.
They gave him a good send. Like he could have kept. Excuse me. He was well loved enough that he could have kept playing that role forever.
Yeah.
And like, there are like. We've banged on about Doctor Who for a while.
Yeah.
Who's the woman who's like that's in there now?
Well, she's not anymore. She's out.
Oh, she's out. Okay. Yeah. I haven't watched Doctor Who since
Jodie Whittaker.
I think I stopped watching halfway through the Peter Capaldi arc.
Yeah.
Because it just. He was doing he was really good. I like the stuff that he's in, and most of the stuff he's in is pretty sweary. So it was funny seeing the Doctor being played by an angry Scottish man.
Two angry Scottish men. Well, one's not very angry.
David Tennant. Well, I know David Tennant is Scottish, but he didn't. He talked with an English accent in the series.
Yeah. Except for that one episode where he didn't have to. He could.
Yeah, he could pretend to be Scottish. He could just let his own accent out.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, another thing about Good Omens, which is also very exciting, which I hadn't realised until a couple of days ago.
Actually, before finish your thought, but I was going to say we should probably tell people what Good Omens is, because I think I knew about it and then I just stopped. Like you stopped explaining it.
It is co-written by Terry Pratchett.
Why does that name sound really familiar?
He wrote the Discworld, the 30 a bit odd books about the elephants on top of the giant turtle with the big disc planet on its back. I talk about it. Well, I don't talk about that much, but I've spoken about it quite a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like.
But
I've read all the books. I got them on Audible, and he's just a really creative writer.
Do you want to give a quick synopsis of, or just an idea what good or is it good or bad Omens?
Good Omens. I thought it was bad Omens, but that's not the case. So it is Good Omens. It's about David Tennant as a demon. I don't think he's the devil. And an angel played by Kaiser will come up with the name in a second. Who are working together temporarily to stop Ragnarok or the end times from happening. I feel like that's pretty good TLDR. Are you still looking up the name?
I am, yeah. And also,
okay, so
it's the Christian afterlife, so it's not Ragnarok. It's like the end times.
Yeah, they say Ragnarok though.
Do they say Ragnarok really? So they're mixing Christian and Norse mythos.
I could be wrong about that, but they might say the apocalypse. Actually, I think they might have said that.
Yeah. Let's see.
I've been playing fucking Viking game, alright?
Shit, what the fuck is it? Oh, Michael Sheen.
Oh, okay. Wait. That can't be right. No, I'm thinking of Charlie Sheen. Yeah, Michael Sheen.
It's not
Wait,
Charlie
no.
Sheen.
What's Charlie Sheen's father? Martin Sheen.
Martin
Okay.
Sheen.
I was thinking
Martin
of...
Sheen was in Mass Effect 2, and he did a very good job in that.
And I recognised just from the voice because I've watched The White House.
Oh my god.
Or at least a lot of it. Anyway, yes, that was... Sorry, do you have another topic?
I do. I do, and I know we've got a little bit of time left. I think this should neatly round it out. Okay. So, I actually talked about this series on the podcast months ago. It's a book series that I was in the middle of, and I finally got back to it because I'd stopped at a chapter that was kind of just losing me, and then I never picked it back up.
Right.
The book series is called The Formic Wars, and it's a prequel series to the Ender's Game book series. It's sci-fi universe. There are like these insect-like creatures that come and start invading Earth and all that fun stuff.
Okay.
And there's people out in the asteroid belt. It's a very similar premise to The Expanse, at least in how the politics is set up. Except people haven't colonized Mars, so
right.
Mars isn't a separate nation.
It sounds to me, and this is not meant as an insult, it's just the way that things are, it is to sci-fi what high school is to anime. That is to say...
Oh, the default setting, yeah.
99% of animes have something to do with a high school. 99% of sci-fis have aliens attacking Earth. In one way.
I mean, yeah. I do like it though, because they went for the realistic portrayal of sci-fi, whereas it takes months to get anywhere. They have to deal with physics and attrition.
Right.
People out in the belt are different from people on
the
belt.
Moon.
Yeah, the belt.
That's Expanse talk coming through, Kaiser.
No, it's like I said, it's the same kind of setup. That's what they call it in the books too.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah.
The asteroid belt and the Kuiper belt. It's the same sort of thing, except in the Expanse, it's more populated. Like Mars has been more thoroughly colonized. The belt is more populated. In this book series, it's mostly just a whole bunch of like tiny nothing stations with nobody in them. And like a few ships like scattered throughout doing their independent mining. So it's
right.
It's not...
So the majority of people are still on Earth.
Yes, Earth and the Moon.
Okay.
So Mars isn't like independent. So it doesn't go as... The Expanse is a much more well-developed solar system. This isn't. And also Earth isn't like unified at all. It's still a bunch of different nations. Which actually is a big point in the book. When the attack starts, the nations are basically like, yeah, fuck you, we're not going to help each other. Anyway, but it's been a good series, and I'm finally, again, picking it back up. The series, like, it was really just one dull chapter that made me stop for a while, but once I got past that chapter, it ended up being, like, good again. So far, what's happened in the series is the attack has started, and it's sort of like these sort of insect-like creatures, like hive mind creatures, who are, for the most part, seemingly ignoring humans and just basically just killing anything that gets in their way. Like they're trying to like terraform the planet essentially.
Okay.
And they're just not intelligent enough to see humans as a threat until they attack. And so, but their technology is so advanced that like it makes it very difficult for the humans to do anything to them.
How big are these ants?
Like roughly human-sized. So we're talking like they're maybe like 5 to 6 feet tall, and like, but they're also long because they've got like an abdomen.
So they're huge.
Yeah, they're like man-sized ants.
How the fuck could we get through armor that thick?
What? Well, that's the thing. They are.
I mean, aside nukes.
They're not heavily armored. They're actually just like assault rifles and stuff can kill the ants in the books.
Really? I mean, if their armor is as thick as they are on Earth, but like that size, that's like shooting through.
Well, it depends.
A
I mean,
foot of steel.
if you're using like armor-piercing rounds and stuff like that, you could probably get through it. I think they do make a point in the book that like small arms fire basically doesn't bother them.
Right.
I may be making that up. I don't remember.
Okay.
That is a good point, though, and I don't think they address it in the book. Or if they do, I've forgotten, because I took like a 4-month break in reading the book.
Right, okay.
But
Sounds
yeah, I'm back to
interesting.
enjoying it. I remember telling a friend about the book, and they're like, oh, who's it by? And I told them the author, and they dismissed it. There's like, oh, this author something. Like, I don't know if maybe the guy that wrote it is an asshole, but the book is good. That I know that was very vague. I have no idea what actually happened in that conversation, but oh man. All right, that's really all I had to finish things off, and it kind of rounded us off neatly to the end of our time. Any final thoughts before we move on to segment 3?
Whose turn is it for movie night next?
I ask you this. I don't know. What was the last one we watched? Willy's Wonder. No, we watched Aliens last, right? No, we watched Redline last. So it was me.
No. We watched Willy's Wonderland last. Because that was during the last.
Are we counting that as a
podcast.
choice?
It's up to you.
Okay. Well, if we're counting that one, then it's Alicia's turn next.
Okay.
And then
Well, no, because that was my choice, not yours.
Well, my choice was Redline. This is a very serious conversation that you guys are hearing right now.
It is.
Like this is the
mechanics.
stuff. Like
All right.
empires
Fuck
could
it, we'll
rise
say
or
it's
fall
Alicia.
based on this.
Well, tell you what. If Alicia actually remembers, then we'll go with whatever Alicia says. Otherwise, we could watch that rom-com with David Tennant.
Okay, yeah, I think that's something that we could all get behind.
Awesome sauce.
All right. This is going to be the end of segment 2 of the TMCJ podcast. Thank you all for listening, and you will hear us again momentarily for segment 3. Welcome back to the TMCJ podcast. We are on segment 3, our wild card, which this week is, long story short,
It is indeed.
one of the games that is hopefully as much fun to listen to as it is to play, because both of us enjoy this one.
Sorry, I just had to click my knee.
Partially, probably, I think, for the latter half of this segment, where we get to humiliate the other person by trying to get them to describe something they've practically no knowledge of.
Yeah, I'm normally a bit nicer to you than you are to me in the last segments.
Yeah, I know, the last one was the Spanish-American War.
Yeah.
I'm going to actually read you 2 that I'm not going to give you, some of the ideas that I had for the last one, speaking of me being mean.
Right.
One of them is describe the Russian Revolution, and the other one is describe Caesar's invasion of Britain.
Okay, so regarding the Caesars invading Britain, I would have just given you one of the storylines to Asterix and Obelix, probably.
I don't even know what that is.
Asterix and Obelix? Do you not have that over there?
No, what is it?
It's a French comic from way back.
Well, that's why we don't have
about 2 Gaulish people who, they were like the last village left in Gaul that the Romans couldn't take because they had this potion that would make them like super powerful, and then they just beat up all the Romans.
Alright, so, again, this is, there are 2 reasons that probably doesn't come over here. 1, it's French, and 2, that's a little bit too highbrow and intellectual for the average American audience.
I mean, it was for kids, it's not very... Anyway, and for the Russian Revolution, I actually know a surprising amount about the Russian Revolution, I think.
Maybe I should have used that one. Hold on.
Well,
Don't
it
describe
was
it,
like-
just in case I may use that. Don't do your best not to think about it.
Oh, no, I will need to... Last time I talked about it was during GCSEs, which were
Well, that's what makes it such a perfect category. All right,
Many.
let's just jump into it and actually get going with the segment. So we did a coin toss before we started. I'm first, and in the first round we pick our own.
We tossed off
because I shut up
Sorry.
because this is what I've been watching this week. I chose Dragon Ball Z. So I figured I'd go through that.
Okay.
I know the plot fairly well, but the plot is very long, so the challenge will be doing it quickly.
Wait, are we talking like all the Dragon Ball series?
No, just Dragon Ball Z, which is like 11 seasons, so it's still going to take some doing to condense it.
Okay. Well, I am ready on the stopwatch.
All right. Whenever you're ready, count me in.
3, 2, 1, start!
Alright, so Dragon Ball Z starts off right where the Dragon Ball series finishes off. Goku now has a kid. He was the main character from the last series. Goku's brother, who is an alien, which no one knew about, came to Earth, tells Goku he's a part of a race of warriors. He was actually sent to the planet to kill everyone. He steals Goku's son. Goku gets the shit kicked out of him. Him and an old rival from the previous series, Piccolo, team up, and they manage to kill his brother. But his brother manages to send up a distress signal right before he dies to the other remaining people that are part of Goku's race. They come to the planet with the intent of either recruiting him or killing everyone and selling their planet. They, through a contrived series of events, manage to kill those two people. Then, unfortunately, during the battle, several people die. They need to go to another planet to get the Dragon Balls so that they can wish their friends back to life. This other planet, they find out, is now being invaded by other people who want to get the Dragon Balls, who are much more powerful than the people they just fought. They go around the planet, do some stuff. Goku comes back. He becomes a Super Saiyan, kicks the ass of the person who's invading the planet. Then they get back to Earth, and when they get back to Earth, they find out that there's a race of evil androids that are going to come out and kill everyone from a time traveler. The androids go around, they kill everyone, but then there's a bigger android who absorbs everyone and eats everyone on Earth, turns into a superpowered person. They have a tournament to kick the guy's ass. Gohan, Goku's son, turns out to be super powerful, kicks his ass. Goku dies again. Then it fast forwards to when Gohan's in high school. That's Goku's kid. He becomes a knockoff Power Ranger superhero.
1.5 minutes.
And then there's another super big-ass threat that comes up, and they have to throw all that stuff out. Goku comes back to life and becomes a big, long-haired, blonde-eyed person who has no eyebrows and kicks their ass. Then there's some world-ending threat that shows up, and everyone's dead, and they fight him in the afterlife, and then the series ends in a way that I've forgotten.
Okay. You're at 1:53.
Oh my god. I need a drink of water.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. I actually don't remember how it ends. But they do... Sorry, what?
Were we going to 2 minutes? I can never remember.
Sorry, you cut off on my headset. You didn't on the recording, but you cut off on my headset. What was that?
But are we going to 2 minutes, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to 2 minutes.
Okay, cool. That felt... I don't remember us going for 2 minutes before. Was it not 1:30?
We did 1:30 at first, and I think we eventually settled on 2 minutes.
Okay.
But I might be thinking of our trivia segment.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so yours was a lot of, and then this person beat this person came back to life, and then this person beat this person, and this...
Well, I mean, that's the plot of Dragon Ball Z, pretty much.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Like, that's pretty much the whole series. As I started to go through it, I'm like, I was thinking through it in my head, and I'm like, oh, that's fluff, that's fluff, that's fluff, I don't need to talk about that.
Yeah. Oh, I got you. Well, I mean, when they find something that works, then they stick to their guns, I guess.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to remember exactly how it... No, I do remember how it ends. They do end up going into, like, the afterlife and beating the shit out of the big baddie, and then he comes back to life as a black kid.
Okay.
And ends up being a good guy, and, like, Goku trains him, and that's where the series ends.
Right.
I do know the ending. It was so long ago. I've only seen the last season once, so I don't really...
I guess it didn't stick with you as much.
Yeah.
Oh,
Alright, so it's now your turn.
Okay, I am going to be illustrating in 2 minutes, verbally, the book series Wolf Brother.
Alright, Wolf... I've never even heard of this.
Probably not, no. It was a, I want to say it was Michael Morpurgo, but I could be wrong. Hang on. It's something that I listened to on cassette when I was very young. Michelle Paver, sorry. And I was about to start talking about it, but I'm not allowed to do that yet.
Yeah,
All
you're
right.
not. No. Okay, so you ready to go?
I think so. This was when I was very young when I listened to this. I listened to it again recently on audiobook because it's also on Audible.
Just go in, balls deep or not at all. Let's do this.
Absolutely. All right.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Wolf Brothers starts out with the main character called Churok, I want to say. Churak. Anyway, he's left alone in the woods. It's in a kind of different time zone or maybe universe than normal. There's a whole bunch of different clans in the woods and further north and all over the world. They're divided up into clans and they have animals as their clan heads. So, he's walking through the forest alone. He meets a wolf cub that's also alone. The wolf cub hadn't realised it, but it wasn't aware of it, but a massive flood had come and killed the rest of the wolf's family. So, the two of them start going off together, because they can help each other, they hunt together, etc. They form a very strong bond, and they come across the Raven clan. The Raven clan is friends with most of the other clans, and they kind of take them in. But it turns out that Churak's father is something called a Soul Eater, which is like the criminals of the world, because they use magical powers. It's a small group with magical powers who abuse the forest and the nature in general, and are like corrupting the land. And so Churak gets outcast quite a lot. The clans don't like him. He has to hunt down the Soul Eaters, and with Wolf.
Minute 30.
And so there's the different clans, and each clan has 5 of the clans have their own like Soul Eaters within them that they're not aware of. Over the book series, he hunts down each individual Soul Eater and thwarts the plot, or at least tries to, without becoming corrupted himself by power.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Minute 56.
That's
we're both under time on our own ones, but that's okay because this is the baby easy round.
It is. I think. Yeah.
You said each clan has like the 5 Soul Eaters. I'm like, and they're called Hokage.
Yeah. It's quite a visceral book in some of them. Like, I know one of the books was it was talking a lot about one of the Soul Eaters is all about like decay and rot and very grim things, and so it describes some corpses quite grimly, which for a little kid, I think my parents were like, maybe we should kind of skip this one, but reading it again as a grown-up, still a really good book, and yeah, it's all on Audible if you are interested.
I mean, it sounds like there were a few. The big book series I read growing up was Animorphs, and then she wrote like later books for like older, like teenage people. The book series called Everworld, which was about like these kids going into another dimension where essentially like all the mythological gods were actually real. But they basically abandoned our dimension and just took some humans with them to their own pocket dimension, where all of the magic and gods and shit are still like there and active. Yeah. And have been for the last however many thousand years. It's just it's a really good book series.
Well, one thing I didn't mention, because it is kind of fluff. It's not to do with the plot. It's just a very fun thing that they put in the books, is that they also tell you like what Wolf is thinking. And obviously because Wolf doesn't think like a human, instead of being like, Wolf sees a fire, instead he, the term that the Wolf uses to identify fire is the bright beast that bites hot.
Oh, and, that's interesting.
Rivers are called the fast wet.
I like that.
Things like that. Yeah.
That's really cool. That actually kind of makes me more interested to read the book, just to, because I'm a fan of like different ways of like doing non-conventional writing. Lateral thinking, or lateral writing in this case. All right, So it's my turn now. You are picking something that I should know relatively a decent amount.
Okay, right. You get a choice this week because I came
Oh.
up with two good ones, I think.
Okay.
The first choice, the Mass Effect series.
Okay.
The second choice, the Odyssey.
Oh, crap. I like both of these.
Mm.
I'm honestly... I'm gonna... Oh, God.
Personally, I think I would prefer to hear about the Odyssey because I think I hear about Mass Effect a lot more.
Yeah.
But it's more of a challenge because it's...
It is. Because
Yeah.
I've played Mass Effect this year. I haven't read the Odyssey in, like, years.
And you can go through all the different, like, islands he visits.
Yeah, I don't think I can do the Odyssey justice, though.
Okay.
You know what? Yeah, I'm doing more history books and stuff. I'll try to reread the Odyssey and the Iliad in the
next
month
time.
before the next one of these, and maybe I'll do it as my first one.
Okay.
But I will do Mass Effect because that one I'm confident that I can get through.
Yes.
I'm confident that I know the plot, but with
I'm
the
expecting
Odyssey,
all 3 games, by the way.
what was that?
I'm expecting all of the games, by the way.
Oh yeah,
up
that's fine.
to Andromeda.
God, I have to describe Andromeda.
Yes,
I tried to
you
put
do.
that game out of my mind. Okay, I'll try to get through Andromeda.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, but yeah, the Odyssey. I feel like if I did that one, I'd definitely skip over some islands because I don't remember them that well.
Yeah, no, I remember the main ones like the Golden Fleece and
Yeah, the island of the Lotus Eaters and the whole
Yeah.
thing with the Cyclops. Yeah, I remember like the big points, but there are little bits that I would have had to leave out. So I'll try to do some research and come back to you with a more robust
Cool, yeah.
description.
Okay, right, are you ready?
I am ready.
The description of Mass Effect, the whole series.
Yep.
3, 2, 1, commence.
All right, the Mass Effect game series kicks off when with you as Shepard are being considered for a high-ranking position within the galactic community military called a Spectre. In the Mass Effect series, humanity has become has just kind of gone out into the rest of the universe. They found out it populated with a bunch of other intelligent species that have similar technology to them. They're like bucking for political clout, and you are the first representative of humanity that might be considered to become part of this galactic peacekeeping force called the Spectres. On your very first mission, where you're being like assessed for this thing, the guy who's assessing you gets killed, and you run into this other guy who is also a Spectre, who is working with this AI race to do some sketchy shit. You don't really know what it is yet. You encounter an ancient alien beacon on the planet that zaps some shit into your brain. You have a vision of death and destruction and horror, but you can't really make it out. You go back and you tell the Citadel Council, which is the ruling government of the galaxy, and they don't believe you. They believe him, because you're just some random upstart and he's been with them forever. So the first game is you going around trying to find this guy, trying to recruit allies and get him on your ship, and trying to prove what you said. And eventually you do that. You encounter the guy on this final planet, but you find out that he's not actually the one in charge. The one in charge is his ship, which
30
is
seconds.
a sentient ancient alien race of AI machines that essentially farm the galaxy over and over and over again. Mass Effect 2 is you got killed and then brought back to life by this sketchy organization, and you do... Essentially, it can be summed up by the evil aliens try to find a way into the galaxy, which you screwed up in
5
Mass
seconds.
Effect 1, and in Mass Effect 2, you screw them over again. In Mass Effect 3, they actually make it to the
Stop.
galaxy, and now finally people believe you. And they...
No.
What? What?
Time's over.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said Wait, how much time did I have?
2 minutes. That was 2 minutes.
God, that was 2 minutes? I didn't even get through Mass
Yeah.
Effect 3.
You finished Mass Effect 1 at 1 minute and 35 seconds.
Oh, I thought you said a minute.
No, I said half time. For
I would have
minute.
gone through Mass Effect 2 a lot quicker. I did, yeah, sorry. I didn't hear you properly.
That's all right.
Shit, I didn't even get to Mass Effect 3.
No. Or Andromeda.
Well, I mean, it's for the benefit of everyone that I didn't get to Andromeda, but fuck.
Oh my god.
Wow, I really did not do that concisely at all. I spent way too much time on the backstory and politics in Mass Effect 1.
Yeah. I mean, it was good. What you were saying was good, but it was...
it wasn't quick.
Maybe
It wasn't quick. It was good, but it wasn't quick.
It was a bit unfair for me to give you that much content to say in that little time.
God. Well, I mean, that's the fun part of the game, is trying to pick out, like, what are the bits that are
The
important.
key points, yeah.
All right.
Having not played the game myself, that was good to know.
So you also have a choice this week
Ooh.
for your second one. Describe either the plot of Naruto or Bleach.
Oof. Okay, Bleach for sure.
Okay. Because I know you were playing the Naruto games, and I know you were watching Bleach recently, so I figured one of these would work.
Recently? It was like half a year ago.
2020, everything is recently.
Alright.
Alright, ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go.
Ichigo Kurosaki is a mid-school, high schooler? Who,
He's a high schooler.
Doesn't matter. Who gets attacked one day. No, who can see ghosts. And he helps the ghosts where he can. No one else can see the ghosts. One day his house gets attacked and by a giant, massive monster that he can see. It takes his sister, his little sister. He has to fight off the monster. He can't because he's not powerful enough. Then Soul Reaper turns up and she's like, I can't defeat the person either. I'm not strong enough. I've been wounded by this creature. I need to give you my power. So Ichigo gets the powers. He kills the monster, saves his, I was going to say daughter, sister. They have to mind blank the rest of his family so that they don't remember the events of the night. He then trains up with a bunch of other people to kill other monsters for the Soul Reaper because Soul Reaper's still too weak to fight. The Soul Reaper in question then gets taken back to a place called the Soul Society, which is her original home, by her people, against her will. They then train up to go to the Soul Society themselves. That's Ichigo and three of his friends. They finally get there. They beat up a bunch of guards that are around this military complex. Then they
You're
have
over
to
a
defeat
minute.
the captain.
I just realized I haven't given you an update.
Fighting through all these captains. The captains are too tough in a lot of the cases, but eventually they get to a point where on top of the Executioner's Hill, where Rukia, who is the original Soul Reaper, is going to get executed, but they manage to stop the execution.
30 seconds.
That being said, a third party then emerges, takes a different character who has, and they become a lot more powerful, and they go to the dark side, which is basically hell. And then Ichigo and his friends go back to Earth. They train up a bunch. There's a bunch of shitty side stories.
10
they
seconds
go to
remaining.
hell. They fight all these incredibly tough people. Then at the end, it goes back to Earth, and then they fight the incredibly tough evil people, and then eventually they win. But there's also sacrifices. Am I done?
Done. Yeah, you're done.
Jesus.
That was I actually I'll admit I've only seen the series up until in the middle of the Hueco Mundo saga. They decided that they were going to do a bunch of filler, and I'm like, fuck this, and I stopped watching.
Yeah, there's a lot of filler before Hueco Mundo as well, which is also annoying.
I made it that far.
Yeah.
But honestly, you got through the details of the Soul Society saga, which is honestly the best part of the series.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I spent too long on the very first episode.
You did. You actually spent almost 20 seconds just describing episode 1.
Yeah.
You fell into the same trap that I did with Mass Effect.
I thought I quite concisely got the Soul Society down there.
The Soul Society you cleared in 20 seconds.
And then I said the dark side. I meant Hueco Mundo, obviously.
Well, yeah, no, but I knew what you meant. I mean, those people who don't, go out and watch Bleach. It's a, mid-tier anime for teenagers.
Well, I mean, watch the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, you don't need to watch much further than that. It starts to get weird.
If you're really committed, then go for it.
Honestly, instead of watching the Hueco Mundo saga, just watch the music videos that are made using it as a backdrop, because they're really good.
They do have a lot of good intro music and stuff in Bleach.
Yeah. Oh my god, the first one, Orange Theory, I think is the band that does it. I can hear it in my head, but I can't sing it because I can't speak Japanese. All right, it's me now. This is now going to be something that I don't know, right?
It is. Okay, or something you don't know much about. And so I have chosen a book from 1966.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Known as Fahrenheit 451.
Oh. I might... Is this the one where the firefighters burn books?
Maybe.
Okay. I'm gonna operate on the assumption that it's that book. But go on.
Okay. All right. Well, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay.
All right.
Three.
Oh, sorry.
Go on.
No. I was about to start
right.
talking.
3, 2, 1, burn.
Okay. So Fahrenheit 451 is set in sort of like a dystopian future where there's like I don't know, some kind of extreme censorship. I'm assuming Twitter took over the government, and they like there are certain books that are illegal, and the firefighters are not like fire. They don't actually put out fires. Whenever they find these books that are forbidden knowledge, they go and they take the books and they put them in the middle of like the street or something like that, and they use their hoses are just like flamethrowers, and they burn the books. The book follows like I want to say it follows like this kid who is in a house and he has these forbidden books and they're kind of hidden, and he reads them secretly and starts to get these dangerous ideas, and it gets him in trouble with the government. And fuck, what happens after that? I don't know. I don't remember if the book has a good or a bad ending. Like, so I'm gonna just say that the book probably has a bad ending. Like, the kid eventually gets found out, and they burn the books, and they probably put him in jail or a gulag or something. And honestly, that's all I remember about it.
You got 40 seconds left.
All right. And after they put him in the gulag, they find some more books, and the firefighters all get together and have beer and hot dogs.
All right. Why is it called Fahrenheit 451?
Because that's the temperature to burn the books at? Or the temperature the flames are at?
Do you need to stop time?
Oh wait, no, maybe that's the name of the fire department that does the burning. Alright, yeah, stop the timer. I'm just waffling at that point.
Well, I mean, that's the point of this segment is because this is all awful. Okay, so, sorry, by the way, it was the film that came out in 1966. The original novel came out in 1953.
Okay, I've read the book, but I haven't read the book since I was in middle school.
Yeah. So Fahrenheit 451 is set in a dystopian society that burns books in order to control dangerous ideas and unhappy concepts. The novel tells the story of Guy Montag, a fireman who questions the book-burning policy and undergoes extraordinary suffering and transformation as a result. Basically, he meets a cute girl who has secretly got books.
Okay, so it wasn't a kid, it was a guy. Okay.
Yeah. And he doesn't want to like turn her over, and he becomes enthralled by the books themselves. I remember the ending to the book. I remember it was quite disappointing because it's like it leaves it on a cliffhanger. Like, yeah, there was meant to be another book or something. Maybe,
well, either that or they were going for deliberate ambiguity to make people think.
But he basically like escapes to the city and meets up with a faction who are like pro book people.
Well, that honestly that plot, and I think this is where I was getting mixed up. That plot shares a lot. Have you ever read the book The Giver?
No.
They made a pretty shitty movie adaptation of it, but the book was something I read in 6th grade, maybe 5th or 6th grade. Right. So I would have been quite young when I read this, but a similar plot where it's dystopian future, certain knowledge is all controlled, and basically anything that doesn't make people feel good or happy is banned. And there's one person in society known as the Giver who is he is like tasked with retaining all of the knowledge that's been forgotten, and one person each year is selected to essentially be his apprentice and be the new person who gets to know all of this forbidden knowledge.
Right.
And
Let's see.
So it's a similar concept. The idea of just like, mass censorship and government overreach.
Yeah. Oh. So yes. All reading material. About future society has banned all reading material, and the job of the firemen is to keep the fires at 451 degrees, the temperature that burns paper.
Yes, I got it right.
Yeah. Well,
there were a couple details I guessed right, and I knew the basic premise that they're firefighters were burning books.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a book that I find this very similar to, except the book that I'm thinking of is a lot more. It doesn't just cover like these topics. It goes through a whole like different, complete change in society, not just about books. But books are one thing that's criminal in that as well, which is a Ben Elton book, and Ben Elton books are very crazy.
Who the fuck is Ben Elton?
I can't describe his books, mostly because I can't say that on YouTube. But so there's the book in question. I can't remember what the title of it is, but it's probably my favourite one that he did. It's about again, it's a dystopian future where basically a really extremist version of religion has become the government. And
all right, so it goes on to be like theocracy.
It is like the social norms are so extreme to an extent that it becomes kind of uncomfortable to listen to, because like privacy, for example, is basically non-existent in this world. So everything you do, not only is it not private, but it's, if you try and cover something up, like anything at all, then you will be made an example of, and bad things will happen.
I mean, hell, we're kind of not to get too dark here, but that's both of these books that we're talking about. This is the direction we're going in right now.
Yeah.
Except instead of book burning, it's digital book burning.
Yeah, and it's all very. Everything is very touchy-feely. So, like, they're all like, you should be proud of your body no matter what, but you should also, always do your best to look like perfection. Books, I think specifically fiction, is outlawed. And there's a big part about the banning of those kinds of things.
Interesting.
It's a very interesting book. I would highly recommend it. But I've already recommended several other books to you to read first.
Once I finish the Formic Wars series, the one I was talking about earlier, I actually intend to read the Red Rising book series that you recommended.
Oh god, I can't wait. That's one that I've been wanting to say on Long Story Short for a while, but I can't.
Because I'm gonna do it. All right. Okay, it is your turn now. This is the final bit of this. So I will give you also a choice: something historical or something fictional.
Let's go with fictional, because I know.
All right.
Fiction.
Here you go. Plot of Transformers.
The plot of Transformers has a plot?
Yeah,
Wait, hang on.
I'm talking about the animated series from the 80s.
Okay.
The original Transformers. There's also a novelization. There's also the Michael Bay Abominations. Like there's a few iterations of Transformers. I am talking about the cartoon from the 80s.
Okay. Wait, we're talking about the movie, right?
Well, I was talking about the series in general, but if you want to do the movie, you can do that too.
Because I've literally never watched the cartoons.
Okay. Well, in that case, I will let you do the movie.
Okay. I'm ready when you are.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so Transformers starts out on what's the planet called? My mind went Megatron, then Elton John, and then
Whatever. It's Planet Elton John. Move on.
So The planet of the Transformers gets attacked because a faction of the world called the Decepticons try and overthrow the Autobots. The Autobots have to escape on a ship called the Ark. When a giant fucking planet for some reason attacks them called Galvatron, they escape through... Wait, is that like the ending of the thing? That's the ending, isn't it? A big fucking planet attacks them. And there's like an internal conflict with the Decepticons where the second in command called Starscream tries to overthrow Megatron, who is the leader of the Decepticons. He thinks he has killed Megatron and a couple of others, but they survived, and with the help of Galvatron, Megatron gets like Dragon Ball Z 9000 powered. He returns to the place where Starscream is having his induction ceremony as the new emperor of the Decepticons and beats the ever-loving crap out of him. Honestly, that was my favourite part of the film, and I can't remember anything past it. There's a space train. The Autobots are really boring, and honestly, I can't remember much of their story. There's an underwater planet with electric fish things and octopuses. Then they fight Galvatron and they blow Galvatron up.
That's time.
Shit.
Honestly, you got a remarkable amount right, and you got a remarkable amount right out of order.
Okay, yeah.
So
Does the arc happen at the beginning or the end?
So the arc is actually at the beginning of the series. It's not even in the movie.
Oh.
The arc is... So what you described at the beginning there, that's the beginning of the Transformers animated series. The Autobots escape Cybertron, which is the name of the planet.
Cybertron,
on the arc. And they escape to Earth. The beginning of the movie is that the Decepticons have essentially won the war, and they control... Cybertron, and the Autobots are relegated to either Earth or the moons of the planet. And so they run to Earth to get more like power for a big attack against the Decepticons. Decepticons spy on them, board the ship, and then there's a big fight on Earth. Optimus Prime gets killed, and then the planet you're thinking of is named Unicron.
Well, who's Galvatron then?
Galvatron is what Megatron gets transformed into.
Ah, shit.
So when you got that right, Starscream kills Megatron, and then dumps him out the ship, and Unicron finds him, and then transforms him into Galvatron, which, again, that is an awesome scene. He goes back and just shoots Starscream in the face.
Honestly, in the game, the really good one that came out for PS3,
yeah, that
was... Also, like, it was my favourite scene in the cartoon, and I think they made it even better in the game. It felt epic, like that particular level. I played that so many times.
Yeah, I've played the games too, the War for Cybertron and
yeah, I think it was War for Cybertron.
Yeah, there's two of them, and they both have Cybertron in the name. I've played both. They're really good. Cause, I mean, obviously, I love the series. Those games are actually based more on the novelization than on the TV show.
Right, I mean, that's kind of where I remembered the Ark from most, because...
Yeah, the Ark was the ship that they escaped to Earth on. But, I mean, again, you got a remarkable... you also, I love the... Yeah, I don't remember much about the Autobots storyline, it's boring, and then you immediately started talking about one of the Autobots storylines where they go to the planet with the electric fish.
Well, that's the thing, I don't remember what they were doing. I remember the Jazz was on that planet.
It wasn't Jazz. Jazz gets
Silver
shot in, like, the beginning of the movie.
He was the Silver Card dude. I'm sure he was on there.
Well, yeah, he was there, but that wasn't Jazz. His name was...
Oh, I thought that was Jazz.
Oh, fuck. I don't even remember his name.
It's because that's what he looks like in the modern day movies.
Yeah, it has some kind of a... Like, it's some kind of a name, like... Oh, his name is Cup. His name is Cup.
That's a dumb name.
Cup and Hot Rod are the two that end up on the planet. And Cup is like the generic grizzled old guy who's like just I'm almost at my retirement.
Yeah.
Okay, I could talk about that. I loved that series as a kid, and the movie is still something that I enjoy going back to.
Yeah, you were just laughing your balls off all the way through.
I was. Well, I mean, but the thing is, it was funny because of how close you got to the actual, like, you were really close to the plot most of the way through. Like, you hit a lot of the key points. You just got a couple names wrong, and then threw in some random bits from the series.
Yeah, I mean, I also wanted to talk about the 5 robots that turn into one, but I couldn't remember their names. So I thought that was
Devastator.
Really dumb. Well,
the robots collectively are called the Constructicons.
Yeah, well, wait, that's the good ones are called the Constructicons.
No, the bad ones are.
Oh, what are the good ones called?
There's 2 different varieties. There's like a ambulance one that no one cares about. They show up in like 2 episodes, and then there's the Aerobots.
Right.
You might be thinking of the Dinobots. They don't actually combine into anything,
Dinobots.
but they're just dinosaurs.
No, I wasn't thinking of Dinobots.
The Aerobots were the combiner robots for the
One
Autobots.
of the evil ones had like the one that has was like a stereo, an old-fashioned stereo.
Oh, Soundwave.
Beatbox. Oh, I loved Soundwave.
Soundwave was the Soundwave was awesome.
Oh, but yes, there we go. That was this week's.
Yeah, long story
deal
short,
or no deal.
that was I mean, this is a good contrast. Last week we actually had a 2-hour episode. This week we're clocking in somewhere around like an hour 45. So it's good to keep. We're actually keeping on time this week. Look at that.
Yeah, we were concise.
Exactly.
Throw back to the first segment.
But it's value packed. Oh man. All right. I think we can end it off there.
Well, do we quickly want to talk about the plans we may or may not have in the future?
Oh yeah. Just a quick little bit of housekeeping. Something that's been suggested and something we're considering. So it should be obvious to anyone who is watching this on YouTube that I've stopped uploading the individual segments. And that's because they basically were not really value added. It was just I was chunking up the podcast and then throwing it out on the YouTube channel. I think it makes a whole lot more sense, especially since most of our viewership tends to be on the audio platforms, to stop doing that and just upload the full podcast. This also gives us the opportunity that if we want to cut out like a particularly interesting bit of conversation, then that can be uploaded separately. It also gives us the leeway to potentially be doing live segments, which is something we may try if there's interest in that. Either making a Twitch channel for the podcast and either doing it live or doing like supplemental segments live or something like that. So it's stuff we're considering right now, but for the time being, that is the reason. If you've wondered why the segments disappeared, that's the thinking behind it.
Yeah. So if you do have any interesting questions or such, and you want us to maybe try discussing them, if you shoot us a message on, I guess, Twitter.
Yeah.
or
Twitter or YouTube.
If you don't have Twitter, then they could use, I don't know.
Well, either Twitter or comment on the YouTube video. Both of those. Yeah.
And we'll go through that and have a look, and if there's some golden grains of truth, then maybe your question will be seen, heard.
Yeah. Featured on the podcast.
Yeah.
All right. Let's end it there then. This has been episode 31 of the TMCJ podcast. Thank you all for listening. And
have a great week. Sorry, I didn't realize that was my cue. I had like coffee granules in my mouth. Sorry. Bye everyone.
Get out of here.